Okay, guys. There was a time when I was young. I was 13. I hadn't understood the greatness of Pink Floyd. I hadn't heard Cheap Trick. I didn't like New York Dolls too much. My dad liked them. He liked Alice Cooper as well. Now I love all that stuff. But before that, I loved the Smashing Pumpkins a lot. And it's like when you get into Michael Jackson and then you get into Stevie Wonder and you see the imprint and they've had on each other, and it's the same with the Pumpkins, but it's of course more magical when you don't know their influences, because then, although Billy is a genius, he kind of became like unman, unhumanly or something because it's just so awesome. This is one record that I really dug as a teenager. You probably know by now that I like all their records. I feel like those Iron Maiden fans who give every album a top rating. I'm kind of like that with the Pumpkins. I mean, kind of biased. But anyway, I think I like watching these kind of reviews myself where someone really, really likes the album. So maybe this will be a good thing. This, I think, is one of the best album of the 90s. It flopped pretty big time back in the day, but if you check out Spotify by now, you can see that Ava Dore, an awesome track, is actually one of the top four listened to tracks nowadays. So time has proven right, of course, which I knew it would. It's kind of funny though because this album is it's folky and electronical and hit based, not so much, but the singles are pretty much hit songs anyway. I mean, the production is really slick and in a way, it's kind of strange that this like the songs like Perfect and Ava Dore aren't as big as 1979. Maybe it was like more of the same and didn't have the same impact as 1979 did. But he kind of took the sound of that song and made an album with much less distortion and much more synthesizers and acoustic guitars and guitars without distortion basically. And of course, this can feel as a Pumpkins when you hear it, it's kind of it gives you the opposite of what you want, of course, because you want the kick, you want his voice to cut through the electric guitars, you want the whole Pumpkins kick that you love. Um, so I mean, of course, in a way, that's what makes this album so cool because it's like one distorted guitar tone on the whole album, and there's the song Ava Dore, and there's pretty much nothing more except Pug with distorted guitars, and I gotta give him some credit for that because he went back to his roots. He made this kind of folksy, Cure, Pink Floydish album with really original songs, and as some of his best work is on here actually. I mean, Sheila is absolutely great. One of the tracks you get into first, of course, is the first track of the album. For me, it was kind of like this. You got into Sheila, Ava Dore, Perfect, Daphne Descents, and Perfect, and those type of tracks in the beginning. I remember Perfect. They did a live session that I found on the internet, and it was great just to hear Perfect acoustically, and it was like, oh, this might be something like, and it wasn't like that great because it was just acoustically, and you couldn't really figure out what it was. And then you bought the record, and the difference between that version and the acoustic version was like so big, and it was awesome. Like being on that level of fandom, like hearing that track, it was I just thought it was so cool. And I remember hearing the Puff Daddy remix of it with the bagpipes, which is great. I don't know why that isn't in the box set. It's so strange. And um, another big mistake to not having the CD box set version of Adore is the end is the beginning is the end from that horrible Batman movie. They have like the slowed down version, which is cool as well. But of course, they should have the sped up one as well. I think as a nerd, I think that would have been really awesome. Of course, I have it anyway, so what am I complaining about? It's a great box. Now, Now I'm talking, of course, about the album itself more. I got the vinyl as well, and it's really cool. The records are 180 gram. They play great. You get the lyrics, get this glossy feel over it. You get a different photo than the original artwork for the CD then back in the day. This was actually the design for the LP back in the day as well. But it was really rare. I didn't even get it in Sweden, so it's really cool that they reissued it. Well, talking about the songs again. Once Upon a Time is one that really stands out for me. Like listening to the album more, it's one of my absolute favorites. And this one, Any Dog is a favorite as well as Shame. Behold the Nightmare and For Martha are awesome, longer songs with really great melody. Um, Blank Page is my favorite song on this album. It's probably like top 10 favorite ever with Pumpkins. It was really interesting to read how that came about. It didn't have any lyrics and was kind of done in the flow of the moment, which I think creates a lot of great songs. I mean, you can look at Bowie, you can look at when you write yourself, you if you get that like in an instant, you can create some real magic sometimes, and this was one of those instances. Um, I think this album is just awesome. It's just there are a lot of people I've met through the years in Sweden as well who aren't really fans of the Pumpkins, like more rocking side, and they love this album. I think it has a real appeal for a Swedish audience. All in all, I mean, I remember seeing them live when they played this tour, and they pretty much just played this album. And but even if you hadn't heard anything, it was still. I mean, I'm such a big fan, so of course I'm gonna appreciate it more. But it was something really special going to see that show, having not heard the album at all. Um, I mean, they had Mike from Bowie's band on piano, and he's a fucking awesome musician as well as Billy. So great pairing there. There was some fun facts in the booklet about those tours, and yeah, I mean it was a hard time for Billy, obviously, and there's been a lot of hard times in his life, I guess. We got some good art from it. I just hope that he will like find some peace and happiness, and I think he has some of that these days. He seems to take care more of himself and not do as much speed. um, yeah, this album means so much to me. It's like it's a really beautiful piece of work. Um, Definitely recommend you check this one out. For me, it's like Billy is kind of the Dylan or the Neil Young for the 90s, basically. I mean, the only one who even gets close to him is probably Tom York or somebody like that. So I really think that him, of course, Kurt Cobain as well. He said like to be cocky in an interview that he and Kurt were the main songwriters of the 90s, and he isn't far from the truth there. Um, Billy has a much more extensive catalog than Kurt, and Kurt did some songs that were absolutely up there with Billy. So I'd say Billy, Tom, Marilyn Manson, and Kurt are probably the songwriters that affected me the most in the 90s and in my youth. Yeah, I'm not that old still. I'm 33, but well, yeah. I promised that I wouldn't listen to my old 90s albums again like a few years back, and look where I am now, sitting here in a red flannel shirt doing like Adore reviews. I mean, you can't escape H&M, and you can't escape nostalgia, I guess. And of course, it's not very forward thinking with nostalgia, but you should have an open mind about it because it makes you feel good, and some of the songs will always mean a lot to me. And I know some people really like this on their music endeavors from where they were young and don't want to listen to them and think it was for that time, but I don't think that's entirely true, and I really enjoy listening to these albums. And maybe in a way I enjoy like getting the vinyl more and the packaging and reading about them because I've listened to them so much, so I pretty much listen to them a bit too much, I guess. So I can just choose out like some bits and like the new version of Let Me Give the World to You and stuff like that makes it interesting for me. And the the new version of Pug is amazing because I really saw it as a synth riff, like I said in the box set review. Um, it's really hard to put down in words the feeling I get from Adore. It's like just put on Blank Page and dim the lights and just be in that special spot where his music takes you basically, and the wind starts messing with my hair. Okay, so I'm gonna hold my hand like this and wave goodbye now. Thanks for watching this review if you did. Bye.